This is All India Radio. We now bring you National Sports Magazine.
Good evening and welcome to the March edition of National Sports Magazine. Tonight we are going to analyze the just concluded ICC Women's T20 World Cup. The stunning Sania Mirza has said farewell to her tennis shoes. We will pay a farewell to her. At the core of today's edition, we bring to you an interview with Director General National Anti-Doping Agency NADA, Ms.Ritu Sen. We will also take you over to Pune for a look at the Senior National Badminton Championship, and the cherry on the top is a Know the Player quiz that we are starting with this episode. So there is a lot in store in today's National Sports Magazine. So go wherever you want to go, but carry us with you. That's the fun of being on radio. To start with, a look back at the just concluded ICC T20 Women's World Cup that Australia defended so very well.
A big congratulations to Australia for winning this World Cup. But we are focusing, with our panel, we are focusing on India's performance and what are the takeaways from this particular World Cup.
And I am handing the mic over to my colleague Sakshi Mandwal, who anchored a lot of programs all through this World Cup for the listeners. Over to Sakshi.
Hello and a very warm welcome. I would like to welcome former cricketer Ajay Ratra.
Good evening. Thank you, Sakshi.
Senior sports journalist Uthra Ganeshan. Good evening, Uthra ji.
Good evening, Sakshi. Thank you so much for having me.
India, Ajay, also came very close towards reaching the finals. Where do you think, especially if we were to talk, did India lose the plot?
For India, it's always been the big hurdles, if you say Australia and England in the world cricket. And over a period of time, India has been doing really well, but till semi-finals. So they need to do that break that jinx of winning against Australia and England. In last tournaments also sometimes one or the other is not in a great form. If you see this tournament also a lot depending on Smriti Mandhana, and in semi-final Harmanpreet played really well. If you ask me about the positive, I think Jamima was a great positive in this tournament. Jamima played two wonderful knocks against Pakistan and in semi-final as well. But in semi-finals they got out at the wrong time, both of them, Jamima and Harmanpreet. So I think we need to break the jinx by improving our skills as well and doing well in the crunch times.
Yes, and Uthra, you also write on sports, and through the course of the tournament, correct me if I'm wrong over here, we also saw a lack of consistency in performance by the Indian players. So do you think has been one of the key factors for us to not be able to make it to the finals?
Consistency is something that doesn't turn up one fine day. You keep working hard, slowly the results start coming in. There's no magic potion that you can eat or drink and suddenly you become consistent. And when it comes to a team event, it's even more difficult because you need all 11 of your players to do well on a particular day. And that is not something that just comes overnight. So when we say consistency, yes, there was a problem. But I do believe, honestly, that it should not be that much of a problem now because we are playing a lot more. We recently saw Harmanpreet becoming the first Indian player, men or women, to play 150 T20 internationals. Clearly, she's ahead of a lot of our male players. So can we say that consistency is a problem because we don't play enough? I don't think so. Not in the last couple of years at least. Consistency comes when you keep working on your game. The consistency also comes by expanding your role and expanding your areas of skill, strength and skill. A batter does not always have to be a batter only. It's the fielding that matters, and that's one area where the Indian team hardly puts in any effort. My colleague here, Ajay, would tell you that for a lot of players, batting and bowling in the nets always remains a priority.
I think fielding is a one area, especially in any format of the game. It is very, very important. If you see, every run saved is like every run scored. In this World Cup, fielding was a grey area in our Indian team, and definitely we need to work on that. For that, fitness also directly related to the fielding. If our players are more fitter, definitely they will help. That fitness will help in the fielding as well. For that, they need to do a lot of skills, lot of fielding drills and all. And also throwing has been problem for the team India. So I think BCCI has always been very, very keen on that, and they have been providing specific fielding coaches as well in the team. But I think they have to really work hard on the fielding.
Right. On that note, thank you so much, Uthra, Ajay, for joining us over here. It's been a pleasure speaking to both of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Sakshi. Well, India played real well in the championship but failed to outplay their opponents when it mattered the most. With women's IPL starting this season, a lot more will be expected from our Eves, and only time is going to tell how much they will deliver. But right now, I'm going to welcome a very special guest in our studios to talk about a real issue faced by Indian sports. Ms.Ritu Sen, the Director General, National Anti-Doping Agency, NADA. And she took over the reins of organization in March last year and led India's war against doping in sports. Rituji, very warm welcome to the studios of All India Radio. I would like to start this interview taking us all to the newspaper reports and a PTI news which came on Thursday about the triple jumper getting 4-year ban.
India's top triple jumper Aishwarya Babu has been banned by the National Anti-Doping Agency's NADA disciplinary panel for 4 years for using a prohibited anabolic steroid. The 25-year athlete testing positive for the steroid, which is on the World Anti-Doping Agency's WADA prohibited list. Aishwarya has time till March 6 to file an appeal against the ban after receiving the ban notice from NADA's appeal panel on February 13th. Was tested during the National Interstate Championships on June 13th and 14th last year in Chennai.
An athlete getting caught in a doping net is something which is not a success story for him or her. Probably it is a big success story for the agency. So let us start by sharing some success stories on the anti-doping front in the past year. What comes uppermost in your mind when we talk of anti-doping success stories?
A very warm good evening to all of you, all the listeners. Catching an athlete is not a success story for us, but preventing the doping and keeping the sport clean is the success story for us. And for that, we do two-pronged approach. One is doping control process by which we collect samples, and second is empower athletes with right kind of education, information and awareness. So if you ask me the success stories on these fronts, then I would say that last 1 year, NADA has been very visible. In the country, any major competition was not without NADA's presence. So our teams were there, the samples were taken, education was done. In almost more than 300 events, we were present. The second thing is the credibility of the testing. So the testing program became more rigorous, more out of competition testing, bringing more and more athletes into the net. More than 4,000 samples were collected, bringing a lot of technology, precision and capacity building of doping control officers. We could be very targeted. First time we did paperless testing also. And if you ask me the third success story, then I would say that we not only focused on athletes, but we also focused on coaches and other support personnel who in some way were promoting doping. So first time there was one coach who was proceeded against for anti-doping rule violations. With this, we also thought that our outreach should be inclusive. So we should reach to all kinds of athletes wherever they are, wherever they play. So if you ask me what is my success story, I would say that we were visible, we were credible and we were inclusive. And when I say inclusive, it means all. Rural areas, far off areas, remote areas, and also athletes with disabilities, reaching out to them rather than calling them for outreach.
So what do you think was the impact of this forceful presence of yours in competitions, which are around 300 competitions, and out of competition tests also?
As far as impact is concerned, one, everybody believes that if there is a competition, at least national level, an important competition, we would be there for outreach, because we believe the first interaction with the anti-doping agency for an athlete should be education and not the testing. So first, our effort is to reach out to everyone and to tell, and now we are going on a saturation mode in federations, in SAI centers, in other sports academies, in state governments. We should reach out to everyone, that we should be telling them what is important to them to know. And in second, with a very targeted and precise testing program.
That actually brings me to the next question, which is educating the coaches, the athletes, and especially the athletes which are less formal in education. So is there a targeted program? How do you go about educating the athletes?
Post-COVID era, I would say, we realized that there is a surge in the sports events and many athletes are coming to the competitions. So we divided our whole education program in two parts. One is during the event. So there is an event-based model where we are there with our full resource kit with full team to engage outreach where they are playing. And second is engaging them beyond the event location. For this, we have diversified our toolkit. There are lots of tools by which they can undergo anti-doping education. And with this, a lot of digital element has been brought in. So we have now mobile game, we have quiz which one can run online and learn about anti-doping. We have lots of leaflets, both print, in braille, and also in sign languages, and in digital copies. So the toolkit has been made more interactive. So whenever athletes undergo some anti-doping education, they also go through that participatory tools. So what they want to know, what they have understood. Recently, we have come up with a web application through which we take the feedback, through which we actually get to know who is undergoing our programs so that we can make it more targeted. We can actually see where are the gap areas. Like, for example, more than 4,000 athletes have played a digital quiz and the mobile game. So now we can analyze the data. Which are the kind of athletes who are engaging with us and which are being left out. Particularly for remote areas and rural areas and vernacular language background athletes, we are now going for translations. We are going for outreach to their camps, their academies where they are training, so that we can cover the whole ecosystem from anti-doping education point of view. And as far as the system strengthening is concerned, we are also ensuring that the whole process of managing these cases, processing these cases, should be reduced for a very short duration rather than taking them for a long time. Like, for example, our result management processes, they have been brought down from 70-80 days to now 30 days. And we monitor each case. Similarly, our anti-doping rule violation cases before panels and appeal panel, it's like brought down to 90 days. So by also doing these process interventions, we are trying to reach out to athletes, both who haven't committed an act of doping and those who have committed an act of doping.
Now, there is a certain system wherein lots of athletes resort to nutritional supplements which they are not aware of can also contain some prohibited substances. So how do you tackle this?
One thing which we want to make sure that should reach to every athlete is there is a principle of strict liability, and that is whatever you consume, it's your responsibility. At the end of the day, when the athlete is tested positive, there is no excuse. Somebody told me, or I did not check it out, or I didn't know. Lack of awareness, lack of information is not an excuse there, not a reasonable ground to get free of that, process. My advice here is that all the athletes, whoever tells you anything, please make sure that you know two things. One, you are responsible for what you are eating, what you are consuming. And second, that if there is any doubt, please go to NADA website or World Anti-Doping Agency's website, where there is a clear list of prohibited substances. If you have any doubt, you can check with us, or you can check on authentic sources where this information is clearly given. As far as our country's capacity to have this kind of system in place, NADA is proactively engaging with Food Safety Standards Authority of India, which is the regulatory body for this. We have rounds of meetings with them to enforce these regulations in the country. We are going to have a very proactive collaborations with them. And other than that, we have signed, our ministry has signed 2 MOUs with 2 prestigious institutions in the country, National Forensic Science University and NIPER Hyderabad. So these 2 institutions will have the lab which will test all the prohibited substances in nutritional supplements. So we are moving with a 3-pronged strategy. First is to educate athletes about the harmful effects of using contaminated supplements or supplements containing prohibited substances. Second, collaborating and partnering with institutions which are responsible for enforcing that regime, and third, creating capacity, testing capacity in the country so that our ecosystem, manufacturers, suppliers, athletes, federations can take advantage of that facility in the country. I would insist on one point here, that dear athletes, please understand that whatever you consume, it's your responsibility. So be aware, be informed. NADA is there to support you with right kind of education, information and awareness.
So athletes, the message is quite clear that ignorance is no excuse. And if an agency is there to help you out and enhance your capacity without using steroids or anything which is not there to be used, I think this is a good help to take. Thank you so much for coming to the AIS.
Thank you so much.
Well, that was Ms.Ritu Sen, an IAS officer of the 203 batch of the Chhattisgarh cadre, who took over the reins of National Anti-Doping Agency as Director General in March last year and has really brought a sea change in the approach of the agency, with a passionate appeal to all the stakeholders that educate yourself and prevent yourself to fall in the trap of doping. The agency is not there only to catch you red-handed, but to help you and to help the cause of sports in India.
Sania Mirza gave India so much to cheer for in the field of tennis. She had an amazing stint of success that we all know. We caught up with senior sports journalist S.Kanan, who had extensively covered tennis and Sania, and saw her play at many courts including the Wimbledon, and he sketches out this farewell to the tennis queen out of his memory box.
The curtains came down on a career of a woman who not only shone for Indian tennis but overall for Indian sport. Sania Mirza, at 36, retired from professional tennis with her last wave at the Dubai Open Tennis Championship. She lost the first round partnering Madison Keys, but it was an emotional farewell for the girl from Hyderabad who went on to become a supermom, literally. Winning 6 Grand Slam titles plus an aggregate of 43 titles on the WTA Tour, Sania's popularity was immense. She was not only the flag bearer of Indian sport, but she had created ripples all over the world. In her career over 25 years, Sania Mirza showed that she is a fighter to the core and never gave up. She has dealt with a series of injuries, wrist, ankle, shoulder, but she never gave up. Each major surgery saw her fight back with immense spirit, which is why she postponed her retirement from 2022 to 2023. The hallmark of Sania Mirza's career was first singles, where she showed that an Indian dared, an Indian dreamt, and an Indian could realize her dreams. The best, obviously, was the period from 2003-04 and the climax at the US Open in New York, where she made it to the 4th round. Sania's spirit earned her a lot of praise from even her harshest opponents, which included Serena Williams. The saddest part in her career, in her own words, was being unable to win an Olympic medal. She was there in 4 different Olympics with different partners, but the best chance came in Rio 2016, where she and Rohan Bopanna lost the bronze medal playoff match. Transformation from an active tennis player to a mentor in a women's professional league tournament which has been modelled after the IPL. She is now the brand ambassador come mentor for Royal Challengers Bangalore. Sania has many more things planned in her career ahead. Apart from coaching and setting up of academies, she will be also looking at a possible role as a tennis commentator in the forthcoming Grand Slams in 2023. I'm very fortunate to have followed Sania's career right through. When she started as a teenager, she showed her prowess on the hard courts, on the grass courts as well as the clay courts. Eventually, her best surface was the hard courts. If she had played in New Delhi, she had shown that competing in junior nationals and competing in the age group events, she was a very strong player. But the graduation from junior to senior level was very swift. I was fortunate again to see her in 2003, exactly 20 years ago at Wimbledon, where she was part of the Grand Slam tour. Sania was playing the French Open plus the Wimbledon, but where she made a mark already in 2003 was in girls doubles, where with the Russian player Elena Klebianova, she won the girls title. That was the first hint that Sania had arrived as a doubles player. After that, in 2004 and 5, Sania showed that in front of big crowds in Hyderabad, her hometown, she could play singles and doubles. Not many would possibly remember that she had played with different generations of players. She had played in Hyderabad with Martina Navratilova, and the American legend was astonished when she saw the crowd beating drums and the welcome she got for herself as well for Sania. From Martina Navratilova, Sania Mirza shifted gears. She played with a legend, Martina Hingis, who at her time was peak in singles. And it is to her credit that she had partnered over 100 different players in women's doubles. As far as Asian Games campaigns go, people will probably tend to forget that in Busan 2002 in Korea, she won her first medal with Leander Paes, another legend who had won the Atlanta Olympics bronze medal for India. Sania partnered with Leander Paes, Mahesh Bhupati, Rohan Bopanna, but not to forget, she never minded it when she had to play with junior players, including her last Asian Games attempt in Incheon 2014. The highlight of Sania's wins was her ability to perform even when the pressure was maximum, which I saw at the Australian Open, which I saw at Wimbledon, which is why she attracted so much of attention as well as criticism. And the best part was she was fearless in her game and approach.
Thank you, Kanan. That was indeed amazing farewell to an amazing player, and as you said, a player never retires, and we are definitely in for a lot more from her in various avatars in days and years to come. With this, we move on to another sport that is giving great results to Indians, badminton. That revival has brought us so many talented players, and a lot of them were on view in the Senior National Badminton Championship held at Pune from 22nd to 28th February 2023. AIR Pune has contributed this special report of the championship.
The 84th chapter of the prestigious championship was organized by Pune District and Metropolitan Badminton Association under the aegis of Badminton Association of India and Maharashtra Badminton Association. Former All England winner Gopi Chand.
Pune has always been a good place for badminton events. We've had great venue, good crowds, a lot of things which were very unique, whether it's the app, playing arena with its grandeur, I think a fully carpeted floor. I think all of these things really give it a very international kind of a feel. A top quality tournament with all the facilities which are equivalent to an international event.
M. Mithun in men's singles and Anupama Upadhyay in women's singles emerged victorious. Mithun, representing Indian Railways, defeated Priyanshu Rajawat of Madhya Pradesh in straight games 21-16, 21-11 to clinch the national crown for the first time. Unseeded Mithun had upset second seed K. Srikanth in the semi-final.
This tournament is also like equal to international only. The players and all, Srikanth, Priyanshu, even they are playing pretty good in the international levels. Like beating them is a good confidence for me.
In women's singles final, teenager Anupama Upadhyay started aggressively against experienced Akarshi Kashyap, but she lost the opening game. Both players fought hard for every point. Anupama prevailed 20-22, 21-17, 24-22.
It was definitely a very tough game, long rallies and all, and I was mentally prepared that definitely I have to play long rallies. I won't get easy point because this will be her also first final and my also first final. She will also try her best to win the title, and even I am trying. Even though I was tired, but my strokes were going that perfect only how it was going in the first set. In the last also I played aggressively only because that is only my game. Playing attacking is my favorite game. Playing that game only.
Anupama, native of Uttarakhand, now represents Haryana. Apart from earning 3,25,000 rupees as prize money, she also will earn 5 lakhs announced by Haryana Badminton Association.
I'm very happy and I'm feeling very proud. My father, my whole family must be feeling proud.
In men's doubles, brothers pair of S. Kushal Raj and S. Prakash Raj grabbed the crown, defeating Akshan Shetty and Deep Rambia.
This is my first national championship I'm playing, and I'm very, very happy.
I would like to thank my coaches for constant support. It was a long journey, especially in national championship. We were losing in quarters, second round like that. This tournament was crucial for us, and we did this.
Gayatri Gopichand, legendary Gopichand's daughter, and Trisha Jolly justified their top billing by snatching the title in women's doubles. They defeated Kavya Gupta and Deep Shikha Singh in straight games 21-10, 21-9.
It was a good match all over. I think we played Tanisha, Akashvani, all tough matches, and I think even the finals we were prepared, and There was no strategy as such, but then we just wanted to go out there and have fun. So.
It's my first senior nationals. From junior to senior I came. Yeah, obviously I'm very happy. We just played our best. We need to give our best. That's how it went.
In mixed doubles, T. Hem Nagendra Babu and Kanika Kanwal bagged the crown. The pair of Indian Railways defeated Siddharth Elango, Khushi Gupta in straight games.
This match was very comfortable because I already played with them 2 times and I already won, so it was 2-0. So I was pretty confident in this match and I trust him so much. He was just supporting me, so it was just straight games. Pretty easy.
I'm very happy about this win and I'm a bit confident actually. After once I have won the semis, then I'm pretty sure that I can win.
In the beginning of the championship, interstate interzonal tournament were conducted. Manipur, despite ending runners-up, hogged the limelight. They had taken 2-0 lead against fancied Petroleum Sports Promotion Board. PSPB finally prevailed 3-2. Thomas Cup winner Chirag Shetty paired with Manu Attri to beat Manjit Singh and Dinku Singh to level the tie 2-2. N.C.K. Reddy and Ashwini Ponappa defeated Priya Devi Maheshwari Devi to clinch the tie for PSPB. Manipur started the trend of hard-fought finals, which turned out to be the highlight of the nationals.
Well, after the women's cricket, we are talking about the men's cricket.
Well, India was definitely able to knit a spinning web against the Aussies and were able to clinch the first 2 test matches in a great style. But finally, they were also caught up in the same web and lost the 3rd test match with a stunning defeat by 9 wickets on a turning pitch at Indore in almost 2 days and a session. Is this really going to have an impact on the psyche of the Indians? Is this really going to have an impact of our qualifying for the World Test Championship in England? Is this really going to have an impact on test match overall? Because we have finished all 3 test matches in less than 3 days. With all these questions, I am once again joined by senior sports journalist S.Kanan.
Kanan, what are your views on this?
Right now, it is a straight dog fight between India and Australia. So I think India are going to make it to the World Test Championships final. And hopefully by then, we will have the best players on the field. There will be no injuries. Of course, Rishabh Pant is going to be out. And as of now, it appears that Jasprit Bumrah will also not be available. This time, 99% we are going to be playing Australia. It's going to be away from home, so the conditions will be vastly different in England.
Australia in India, how different Australia in England will be from this?
It will be very different because Australia have a lot of reputation at stake.
With the test matches ending up in less than 3 days, how do you predict the future of test cricket?
I think test cricket future is very bright. We've seen in the past also matches end in 4th day or 5th day. India has shown that kind of aggression and that rare quality. They are not only tigers at home, they are tigers abroad also.
Wish they show the same in England also when it's the finals.
Definitely, I think it's going to be a very, very exciting Test Championship final. India is fired up.
With this, I now announce a brand new segment for all of you to scratch your heads and to boast your knowledge of sports. A quiz. Identify the player. We're going to play the voice of an eminent player of the past or a current player. All you have to do is to identify the player and send us the reply on WhatsApp number. Our WhatsApp number is 9419191368. So here we go. Identify the player. Identify this player.
सर अपनी तरफ से तो कोशिश यही करते हैं कि तिरंगा लहरा के आए, पर वो तो जिसका टाइम होता है, जो मतलब टाइम पे चल गया वो चल जाता है जी, वो काम होता है.
Well, you want some hint? The hint is I'm going to replay this voice.
सर अपनी तरफ से तो कोशिश यही करते हैं कि तिरंगा लहरा के आए, पर वो तो जिसका टाइम होता है, जो मतलब टाइम पे चल गया वो चल जाता है जी, वो काम होता है.
Identify the player. I know you can easily identify this player. Your replies are awaited on WhatsApp number 9419191368. You can also send an audio reply with a brief introduction of the self. So come, be part of the National Sports Magazine. With this, we come to the end of the March edition of National Sports Magazine. See you with a lot more surprises in the next edition, following on the 7th of April 2023 on the same frequencies, on the same channel. Till then, it's goodbye from your host Nitish. Bye-bye and good night.
You were listening to the National Sports Magazine, produced and presented by Nitish Kumar Arora. This program came to you from the Delhi station of All India Radio.